Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be warming up with some leaves, and then I think we're going to paint some English roses. That's just what I'm feeling. I went to my local garden today and saw a bunch, and I would like to do them again because they are just so beautiful. The paper I'm using today is going to be a mix of Bao and Meeden. And the paints I'm going to be using are going to be a mix of, these are Daniel Smith's squeezed out on a palette. I also have some handmade paints and my Meeden palette, so I'll kind of mix between those as well. And then also I'll be using probably these twistable bear crayons. They sound juvenile, but they're lovely. And then I'm also probably going to be using some watercolor crayons as well. And I'll show you the supplies as kind of I work through it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm really going to lean into just practicing my leaf shapes. If you saw my post this morning, I think it's always kind of good to practice painting leaves. So I'm going to just start. This brush is a Meeden size 1, by the way. It's a quill brush, and it is great for a lot of different types of illustrating or painting. So that is a double stroke leaf. A one stroke leaf might look more like this. And then what's cool about that is you can add color to that as you go. And I would do that right away while it's still pretty wet. And then maybe add even another color. Like I think I said 2 in my post today, but you can add 3. You can add 5, doesn't matter. Play, figure out what you like. And then I'm going to start leaning into other shaped leaves. So let's start with a wiggle leaf. A wiggle leaf is when you put the tip of your brush down, press, and wiggle, 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 like that, and then lift up. And then I would go back in again and maybe add some extra colors in there and just let them blend and bleed together. So this is a double, this is a single, this is a wiggle. The next one we're going to do is a rose leaf, which has all the pointies in it. So this would be kind of like a double, but when I'm done with my 2-stroke double, I'm going to move this up so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to go to the top, make it a little bit pointier, and then I'm just going to go around the edges with the point and just kind of go around to give it those little pointy edges. This is probably the simplest way to do it. Kind of like that. And then I would go again back into a different color. Add it in there, maybe create a vein. Maybe add some color into some of those edges. They don't have to be all in the same spot. They can be in different spots. But play with your tones. And generally rose leaves have pointier little edges. So double, single, wiggle. Let's move that around a little bit. Just a little bit. And then this is a double with like that like serrated edge. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to lean into maybe a round circle little leaf. So like one of these. These are all photos I took today, by the way. Thanks, Meeden. And so this, it's basically this, but you're going to widen out your stroke a little bit. So you're going to go out like that and out like that. So it's that double, but leaving the space open in the center. Now you can just add water to that space because these brushes hold a lot of water in them. And then I'm going to go back over here like I did before and add some of these tones back into the leaf like that. Thanks, Crystal. I appreciate all of those hearts and likes you're giving me. And then what I might do is I might pull. I can clean this brush off just a little bit with my brush cleaner. Pull, pull, pull the pigment you already put down and let that kind of blend out. And then you've got this much rounder little leaf. You can also get rid of this point if you want. Pull it down so that there's no point at all. And then you've got much rounder brush, almost like a circle or a balloon. And then if you feel like you've lost some transparency, you can use your brush to pick up some of that pigment and lighten up some parts of that leaf. This is called lifting. You can see I'm just pulling some of that off, and it just lightens it up a little bit. Just like that. Not too much, just a little, and then I can always go back in again and add some more colors and tones or splotches, because leaves love to have these little like hyper pigmented areas. And again, the paper I'm using is very cold press. It's got a lot of texture to it. It is good for soaking in the water and the pigment and kind of blending everything out together. So another one I might do is a long leaf stroke, but maybe with like a wiggle to it. So like this one here. So maybe something like that. And all of these, I went to my local, with a very large park. It's called Delaware Park, and it's been around since the late 1800s. And it has this beautiful rose garden near Hoyt Lake. And it's just lovely there. I like going there for inspiration when I don't know what to paint. So I would encourage you to find a place to go. You're working. Oh, I'm so glad this is helping you. I will repost some of this content in my feed. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And then just kind of pulling that out a little bit. Now, once I've done this layer, it doesn't mean I'm done with the painting. I would go back to this when it's dry and add more details and more brush strokes to kind of create some contrast. Maybe some mixed media tools. Because I would like to put more veins in this, but it's really wet right now, so I'm not going to try and do that right this minute. So let's go to one of these fern type leaves, because these are always really fun too. And there's so many leaves on them. So I'm going to probably do a shortened version of this fern. What am I going to do when I'm back teaching? What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to go back to teaching too. So I think we're both in the same boat, Alexis. I'm not going to be like, when do you go back to work, Alexis? Because I'll be back in September. We don't start in August. We start in September. But I'll be back to work and I will not be doing these lives like I'm doing now, that's for sure. All right, let's see. So just to kind of get this shape a little bit, because this is going to have a lot more leaves to it, right? Oops, you go away. No, 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 I don't want you here right now. Oh, good gracious. There we go. Okay, so there is, it looks like they're almost every other kind of like stairs going up. So let's see if I can pull that off a little bit. Oh, August 5th. So you get to be jealous of me, and I get to be jealous of you in May. So I'm just going to keep going and wiggling. It's kind of like this one here. Because they're like almost every other. I don't paint fern leaves very much, so this is kind of a, this is different for me. Oh, I'm so glad. Is it Vazriel? I teach math. I don't teach art. And I know Alexis gets it. This is like our side gig, right? Like this is our hobby, turned into passion kind of a deal. And the funny part is I don't have a huge math background, actually, because I'm an Ed teacher. I can teach anything up until 6th grade. And so because of that, I work in a middle school, and middle schools need math teachers to just teach math all day. So that's what I do. And to be quite honest, I love it. I wasn't very good at it at first, just like I wasn't very good at this, because my background is more history and English. But like with anything, you can learn anything. There's no such thing as a person who can't do math. Everybody can do anything they set their mind to. It might take you longer, but it's not impossible. So whether or not I'm a good math teacher, I'm a good person for those kids to have in a math classroom. That's what I'll tell you that. Because they feel safe to make mistakes. They don't feel bad when they screw up. They don't feel like I look at them in a negative light. And when they are frustrated, I get it. I've been there. Now, this does not look exactly like that fern, but that's okay. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's connect this a little bit. This is just me playing with fern-like shapes. Okay. Let's do one more, because or maybe two more. I've got a couple more spaces in here. So let me go back to and I took photos today because I knew I wanted to paint. Nope, that's not it. I did that yesterday and that was a fail. No, I don't want that either. Why are you being such a pain? Go back to my photos. I don't want memories. There we go. There we go. Nope, that's not it either. I think it's in my texts. Hold on. Let me check. There we go. Okay. This one's pretty cool. This one right here. Let's do some heart ones and see what happens. As a pediatric psych nurse, I couldn't agree more. They just need a safe place. Yep. I homeschool my kids and got to relearn all the maths. I love math now. Once you learn it, you're good. Like, it is very predictable. And I also like the fact that it doesn't take me that long to grade things. I mean, I have 100 kids every year, but it's still really nice to know that, like, once you get there, you're there. I also try and encourage, and I'm sure you all get this too, there's not one way to solve things. And as long as you can explain to me how you got there, we're cool. So I'm going to do a heart leaf here. And I mean, they don't want to show their work, but as long as they don't have to, like, I'm not a stickler about explaining in words. In fact, I could argue that trying to explain math in words is arguably going to fail a kid more than if you just ask them to show it to you in numbers. So I rarely require them to explain something to me in words. Okay, so we've got that. I go to the garden in Duluth, Minnesota to get flower ideas. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, Nanny. When I was there today, there were lots of roses, but a lot of them were kind of on the back end of their growth cycle. But I did see some wildflowers while I was there. I'll show you guys a picture of what the garden looks like later. I'll post it in my stories. But there was some amazing Queen Anne's lace that I would love to try. I haven't done that in quite some time. Oh, you get it then. You get it. You understand what kids need if you taught 4th and 5th grade. And also, I have my daughter's going into 7th grade this year. My other daughter's going into 6th grade this year. And my son is going into 2nd grade this year. So I live this as well. Like, in my real life, I live it in my home. And I actually worried that I would hate my life a little bit with my daughter being in 6th grade too. But after her 12th birthday, I would argue this year could be a more difficult one because she has been giving us a run for our money. Like, I'm trying to be kind and I'm trying to be patient, but she's getting in that mean stage, and that's really hard sometimes. Hey, Dad's Doodles. But thank you, Janster. I appreciate it. It is fun as an adult. I think Crystal, I would argue that, like, it made understanding all of the math made me more of an advocate for myself when it came to money. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, when I first started being an adult and paying for my own stuff and, you know, rent and phone bills and car payments, you don't understand what you're fighting for. You don't understand what you're paying for. Not fighting, but you don't understand what you're paying for to know what to fight for. And if you can understand up to 6th grade math, I feel like you can handle financially standing up for yourself. And I try and teach that to my students. They do, and in a way that is sometimes far better than we could, right? I agree with you, Janster. I do that sometimes too. Or what I'll do is, while the kids are working, I'll see kids do it 2 different ways, and I'll have both kids come up and explain it their way of doing it, and I'll have another kid come up and explain their way of doing it, and then I have kids vote on which one they liked most privately. Not like a popularity contest, but privately, which one did they like the most? Like, I'll have them do it online. Oh, I hate puzzles. Well, no, I like the picture puzzles, but I don't like riddles. I like predictability, and I feel like math gives me predictability, at least now that I know how to do it, right? Okay, so this all feels really good. I've been talking about something that has nothing to do with this whole time, but I feel like this is looking really good. So let me do one more leaf maybe, because I've got another space down here. Or maybe I could do one up here. Let's do a long one. Let's do those stripy ones. So I'm just going to take this tip here. I'm going to put it down real light. And I'm just going to pull a few times through like this. You don't have to hold your brush to the page. And then I'm going to go around the edge and just widen out the side a little bit and pull it in and then curl it down kind of like this to give it some movement. Okay. And these are like those big sweeping ones that you might see kind of sitting at the bottom of a plant, in a planter maybe, kind of like that. And then I went in kind of dark on that. So what I might do is just to go backwards a little bit. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to add some light green to that, and we'll see how that blends and how it blends differently from what I did before. And I kind of scooched that out a little bit. I would also encourage you, yeah, it is like Sudoku. There is a method. I would encourage you to feel free to add little spots into your leaves, like little pigment spots. And feel free to add colors you would not expect. So like reds and purples and blues. Plants have all of those colors, all of them, whether it's fall time, and in fall, we all know that they lose their pigment, and then you start to see the reds and the greens and the blues and the purples. You can add that now. They have it now. Like, I have one that was very purple when I was looking at it today. It was really cool to look at. I'll show you the photo I took. It was kind of like this one. You can kind of see them in the back. So do you see? Look at those tones and those purples. And you can see the purples in the leaf as well. You like a little red and splotches? I love the splotches. Or pink. I love adding pink. Wicked had it right. Pink and green do go together. It just adds a little bit more interest too. Like, you don't have to put it in every leaf, but you can put it in little various spots kind of around the page. And you'll see that this is dry enough now that it's just sitting on top and not moving around. If you want it to move around, just add a little water around it. And then it'll spread. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal, how old are your kids? Or are you done homeschooling? Or are you still homeschooling? And anytime you add red or pink to a green, you make it much more realistic in its botanical tones. Or at least I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. So I'm just going to believe it. Thanks, Chubsy. Oh, gracias. I appreciate it. All right, let's do, we're going to do one more here. What am I going to do, though? I did find this one, but it might be too large. So there's this one. It looks almost like a star shape. Let me see. What else did I find? Oh, I did do that one, but that one's kind of like that one right there. And then what's this one? Oh, I did do that one. That's like a pothos almost. Maybe this one. What are these? Like, they look like little potato leaves, don't they? Let's do some of those potato leaves and see how that goes. Yeah, a little bit of a variation. The variations are hard for me though. I can like imply variation, but I have a hard time with veins. That's always been a struggle for me. Always had a hard time with veins. So I feel like if I just add these tones and dots and splashes, it gives the impression that I know what I'm doing. And then this kind of goes in like this. They're almost apple-shaped, actually, aren't they? Like, look at that. That looks kind of like, if I tried turning it, it looks kind of like an apple shape. But yeah, I do have a hard time with veins. I'm not sure. I still haven't entirely figured it out. I don't like when they look I don't like when they look all the same shape or size. So when I'm doing it, I don't want all the stripes to be coming out the same. The other thing is too, I think sometimes it makes it look more fake to me. Like I know I'm not getting it right when I'm doing it. So I see all the mistakes and I don't like that. You know what you're doing? Oh, variegation. I got it. Understood. Thanks, MB. Okay, so we've got these. Let me add a little bit of red to that, or pink, as it were. There we go. Just look at that spread. It's just so cool. Okay. So I'm going to stay here today until about 11 o'clock. Then at noon, I have to go to the vet. Don't tell too many people. Well, I don't care if you tell anybody, but we found a kitten in our front yard, and I'm hoping we can keep it. I just need to take her to the vet and figure out if she's healthy enough to have with all of my other pets, because we have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and I don't want her to bring something home that's going to potentially make them sick. So we're going to take her in today and see how she's doing, though. She seems super good and super happy. So I'm doing this kind of anticipation of taking her to the vet today. All right. I'm thinking I'm going to do this again. It's so hard to do variegated leaves. I don't even know if I'm spelling that correctly. I think you are. Yes, you found it in the field. That's always an okay thing. It's true. All right. So I'm going to pull this off and I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it with different colors, I think. I think I want to do something more blue, purple, green. So I'm just going to use this. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, this is a watercolor pad. It's Bauhung. They're in my shop if you're interested. But these are basically glued down. So if you look, you can see here's like the glue. Here's the open part of the pad. And here's the glue again. And the glue goes all the way around the pad. The goal there is so that the paper doesn't buckle while you're painting on it. And so what I do is I do this in a number of ways. You can use, this is an old art spatula thingy. You can use a butter knife. You can use anything that's got a flat head on it. You can use a credit card. And basically what I do is I put my thumb at the corner and I slowly pull it down to my finger. And I just keep going all the way around. I am going to be adding more to this, by the way, guys. I'm going to be adding mixed media to this. So if you're seeing mixed media materials in my shop, that's why. Just be careful. These can be very easy to rip if you just think you're at that. Like if I get to this point, I'm like, oh, this is coming off. I can pull it. I've ripped so many papers doing that. So I do try and go all the way around with my thumb, kind of taking the lead. And then when it comes off, it will have some like little glue shrapnel around the edge. Like you can kind of see it there. And you can just peel that off. Kind of like that. You can see there's a few bits down here as well. But you just peel all of that off. I'm going to set this over here though, because I do want to do some blues. I am going to change this palette out though, because there's no blues on that palette right now. And I think I'm just going to use the Meeden one for now, because it's accessible to me at the moment. Okay. I am going to start, what is under here? Oh, I have paint underneath it. Jeesh. Okay. And I don't know, maybe I'll do the same shapes again because it's fun. And it'll just get me more color play than anything. So I'm just going to leave this out as a reference. And I'm going to try and do this again or something similar to it. And then for those of you who just joined me, you can kind of see me pulling it all together again. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. And it's blocking my water, but that's fine. And then just so you guys know, I have this. I know it looks so gross, like a toilet, but it does actually put clean water in here or clean-ish water in here. And it's actually super convenient. I'm not one of those people who works with the cleanest water in the world. I just don't care that much. Color's going to do what color's going to do, and I don't need to control. Ooh, what brand of paints do I like? My favorite paints are always going to be handmade paints because they have the most fun granulation. Daniel Smith has great granulation, but they're expensive, and I don't buy them anymore. I have leftover tubes that I use, but I don't buy them anymore. And the reason for that has more to do with the fact that I don't need them because I have plenty of other paints that I really love. But Daniel Smith has some good ones. I love this palette because it just is convenient. It has everything I need in one spot. So this is my Meeden palette. This is a 48. They have some 96s. I'm gonna like push Meeden every time because I think they're a great company and I think they create the best paper in the world. And I love their brushes. Like this brush, I kind of got it it was kind of a spontaneous deal and I love them. I have a bunch of quill brushes from them that I pretty much use for everything. Like here's their biggest one that I got in their set. It's a size 7. But I love these brushes. I feel like I can do a lot with them. But the paints, I think this is a good starter set for a lot of people. You can obviously see I love this color. It's got some granulation to it. And then you've got some like play colors up here. You've got some shimmers. You've got some fluorescence, and then your main palette. So I would argue those are pretty good paints. If you're going to get handmade paints, my favorite handmade paint maker is Masha's Watercolor. She's on Etsy and Art by Way. I can show you some of her stuff. Maybe I'll do 2 more of these and I can show you the difference. So let me show you some of the Meeden stuff on here. Hold on just a second. I'm just building up some of these blue-green colors here a little bit. What's this one? Yeah. Just making these a little bit more blue to start. Okay. I know you can't really see me off the palette. I'm mixing over here just to kind of create these colors. So same idea, just like this. We're going to do some blue-green, maybe some purple. So this is a double where you go down once from the top and then down again on the other side. And then I just use the tip to create that little point. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to do single, start at the top, press your brush down, pull, and then left. So these are the most common, and I would say the easiest brush strokes to start with if you're just starting out. The next one I'm going to do is a wiggle one. So this was a wiggly one. We're going to do that as well. So same color, same base. Start the same way I did with the other 2. Put my brush down, but instead of pulling, I'm going to kind of wiggle back and forth. And then fill in those spaces. And maybe just a little bit bigger out here. I love a wiggle leaf. They're like my favorite. I'm going to add some more green to this because I've got more green in that. Just to kind of pull them together. Do you see how pretty this paper is? Look at how pretty this is. This is the Baohong pad. Meeden also sells Baohong. So if you're looking at the 2 different papers, Meeden or Baohong, they are created using the same factory standards. The only difference between Meeden and Baohong, as far as I know, is the packaging, like how they wrap it, how they cut it, like the sizing and all that stuff. It's more consumer-based rather than paper-based. But the paper is basically the same thing. Okay, next we're going to go in and we're going to do this one. This one's like the rose leaf, just like that. Oh, thanks for the follow. How do I decide composition? I would say that it does take I would say composition comes with practice and classes. I think you need to take some classes with people who are going to teach you how to not just paint a composition per se, but I think you need to practice painting compositions first, like other people's compositions, and pay attention to where they're putting things. For me, it's all about negative space. So obviously this isn't really a composition, but it could be a flat lay, right? When I look at something like this, I see more negative space down here on this flat lay, and that's okay to me. Like, I don't mind it because I'm just practicing. But if I'm looking at a piece in a composition, I want my eyeballs to travel on a plane of activity. So let me find a piece for you I can kind of show you. So like, this is a really good one for composition. So I did this one last week. And this is an example of cone flowers, right? So you can see I'm doing the wiggly leaf vibe. All right. Yeah, no problem. So here's the wiggly leaf that I just kind of did here. I'm going to do more of those, obviously. And then what I did was I painted the flowers first, and then I went in with the stems. Like, where are the stems going? The stems almost always determine the shape of my piece if I'm working with florals. Now, zooming this out a little bit, I'm going to move this so I don't mess up my painting. If you look, you see all this negative space up here? That's intentional. Like, I want my eyeballs to follow this curve. And that's how I compose a lot of my pieces. Another one, like, this is another one. This one is like a hollyhock, but you can see there's a lot of negative space here. There's some negative space over here. And then it kind of fills up and spreads out. It's something for your eyes to travel on. So because my style is very like loose and lots of movement, it's very important to me that the negative space around it is creating a story for the actual floral. And a lot of people ask me about backgrounds, like, why don't you paint backgrounds? Partially because I'm not super confident with them. I don't practice them enough. And then in addition to that, the less you practice, the less you feel good about it when you're doing it, and you don't like the result when you're done, right? I have been trying to practice them more, but I would say I still really like just the white contrast. I think it creates this portrait style that I just really like. Okay, so I'm adding some, because I was talking, this dried a little bit. So I'm just adding that little brush stroke in there, and I want you to see what that does. It just kind of creates a contrast, and it still leaves that faded bit here to create some interest. So maybe the leaf is folded over and you're just seeing the outside of this leaf pointed at the sun, and this is the inside of the leaf. Sometimes it does that. Thank you, Crystal. And like, even in here, maybe you do something like you put a little bit more up here, and then you just put a little bit more down here. I like adding in these extra tones. It's the same pigment that I'd already mixed. And because it's dry, it's going to stay with this sharp look. So I'm just going to leave that in there for right now. Oh, thanks, Basha. Because over here I did a lot more with like the pigments blending together. But I'm going to do the same thing here. The same shapes, but just maybe not as blendy because I was talking so much. All right, here's me going in and adding the spikes around that rose leaf, because they do love that pokey little leaf here. And basically, I just use the tip of my brush to create that serrated edge. And this one is obviously got a much shorter angle to the leaf, kind of like that. And then I just kind of go in and then soften that up, and then maybe just fill in the rest with water. And then it looks like it's had a serrated edge when I started. Okay? I have that problem, V. Morgan. I absolutely have that problem. All artists have the problem of knowing what's too much and what's not. I painted yesterday multiple times, and every time I was so frustrated because I felt like I overdid the painting. I didn't use enough transparency, and that can be an issue. Transparency is the idea that you have a very watery mix on the page. Like, you know those ones where the people have like a bunch of petals laying on top of each other and you can see through each petal to the next one? That's transparency. that takes patience, and I don't have that every day. Some days I just want to create and want to walk away knowing I'm done. And so I applaud the people who are able to sit and do that, but that is not me. All right, so I'm going to go in for this round one right here. We're going to make this, and this one's the one where you do 2 brush strokes. And you pull it in, and then you just add water to the middle. So it's just a rounder little petal. And this one, I think I made it look more like a balloon, so I'm going to make this tip a little bit rounder as well. And if you feel like you made a mistake in doing your painting, you can always go back and reactivate the paint on the page with water, depending on how heavy you went in on the pigment. But don't feel bad, V. Morgan. Honestly, so many of us have that same problem. We're regularly fighting overworking something, and then sometimes overworking something can look amazing. You just can't predict. You just can't predict. Okay. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to do this little stringy leaf guy. I'm just going to go in like a bunch of different line segments connected. And then I'll expand it out a little bit more on this side. And then I had another thin one kind of coming in here like that. Okay. You're welcome. I don't have an answer for you about the too much, except you just got to keep going. Keep trying, keep going. It's not going to get better by walking away. And you're just going to have bad days sometimes. And you're going to feel frustrated like you're not doing well. I mean, it's just, you just got to find the small wins and celebrate them a lot. And don't feel bad about celebrating yourself. It's totally cool. I'm going to make this leaf again. This is my next one. And I'm going to go in and try and add some of these contrasts as well. So let's see. This is that wiggly leaf, but it's like a 2 brush stroke wiggly leaf. Do you see how amazing this brush is? It just holds all of that water. Okay. Wiggle again. Like that. Let's see. And then I'm going to try and grab some more of it. Nope. This one? This one. I think it was a mix of both, actually. Ooh, that could be cool. Let's see. I'm going to add some more specks, kind of like I did on the other one. Oh, that's pretty blue. Oh, well. We're going to leave it. We're going to add some in here as well. Just let that play and move. This is the fun part. The stressful part is putting it down when you start. It's the adding the color on top afterwards, the fun part. What looks like a hummingbird? This one? It does have a beak to it for sure. This is a Meeden brush. I got it in, it's a 4 collection. This is size 1. It's called a quill brush. Lots of companies sell them, but Meeden's my favorite one. I've had a number of different quills, but this one's a size 5. This one's a size 7. And I've got another one laying around here somewhere. Oh, wait, here it is. And then this is a size 3. I have the 4-pack. I use them all the time. Honestly, I use them almost as much as my dagger brushes. And if you've been following me for a while, my dagger brushes are my favorite brush of all time. Let's add some more darkness there. I'm going to add some more in here since I know it's still wet, because I can see it. This one does not have as much wet, but this one does. So let's add it back in there. Okay. These colors are so good together. You're welcome. We're going to do a heart one here. Let's get some green back in this, though. And then some green back in this, too. Still want to do that. Okay. I am mixing off on the side, so I'm sorry. You're not really seeing me mix here. And then I'm just kind of moving it around and playing. Okay. So we're going to come back here. We're going to do a heart. Those pretty little heart leaves. It's possible heart leaves might be my favorite. They're just so fun. And you can do a brush stroke on this too. Oh, thank you, Amy Lynn. I appreciate you. I'm going to lift this up a little bit though. It's a little darker than I wanted it to be. So you go with a clean brush. And here's what I do. After I lift it, I dip it in my water. And then I pick up my brush and I squeeze the excess water out. You can see it on my finger, right? And then I go in and I lift again. And then by doing that, I can control some of the brush flow and some of the transparency. And then this one also has those little pokies. So, ooh, that was a little dark. Oops. And then here. Is that the direction I wanted to go? No, I don't think it was. I think I'm supposed to go down this way. Oh, well, I can fix that. So here's how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make this bigger. Boop. And then I'm going to bring it down this way. See, look how easy that was. As long as you've got the space. And I'm just practicing anyway. I got that blue in there. So just for composition purposes, if you're going to see something like in there and you like it, make sure you put it in other spots so it feels more cohesive. I'm going to put it in here because I know that's still wet. Look at that move. So good. It just brings it all together a little bit more than if you don't. All right. Love you. Bye. And then if this is dry, just add some water and it'll blend out. Just bringing it back. Because sometimes you are going to drop a color that you don't mean to, and then maybe you actually really like it. I mean, look at that bleed right there. That's amazing. Okay. And then we've got two more. We've got this little apple looking leaf and then this fern leaf. So let's do that next. We'll do the fern. I realize you can't even see this. I'm so sorry. There we go. And just remember, if you're into this or want to be, you don't need to create something for someone. You can just create for the purpose of learning or just for yourself. Okay, and we'll stop that there. And then we'll just use a darker, let's see, sphere. And just kind of come down here and bring it together. Okay. So I'm going to try and add some of that to this as well, because that color, that green looks really good in there too. There we go. I mean, just a reminder, like, look at how different that is versus this one. Like the brightness, the blues and the greens, and then the yellows and the greens. It's so cool to do basically the same thing twice and just contemplate the differences. And then I got that little apple-y one that I gotta do. Little apple leaf. I just made it blue. SM, it should be, or is it 5M? I think it's SM. It should be in my shop. Like, check my little shopping cart. It should be in there. I thought I put it in there. Let me see. I should have it. Maybe I can pin it. Let me see. There it is. Do you see it? It may not say quill, but that's the one I just pinned, and I'm not seeing it on here, but that's what I'm using right now. Let's add a little bit more of that teal. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that one is pretty much done. Oh yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. I am such a fan. Their paints are solid, but it's the paper and the brushes that I like most from Meeden. And honestly, if you're going to spend any money on watercolor at all, this is the one that you spend like the least amount on. Spend the least amount if you're starting off on your watercolor paints themselves. It's the paper you want to find like if you want to get these effects, these like color blends together, you want a cold press that has 100% cotton. And I would argue that Bauhung or Meeden is going to give that to you. Bauhung might be a little more affordable, but they're basically the same paper. They're just different packaging. Okay, so this is nearly done. I'm going to add just a few more tones here, because what you should also know is that one layer is not enough. Not unless the paint's amazingly, ridiculously awesome. And those are generally the handmade paints. You almost always need a second layer because it starts to get dull looking. Like even this up here, I think that's still very pretty, but I would argue that the vibrancy that I saw going down now is a little bit quieter, right? So, oh, and you're welcome, SM. I don't know if I said that already, but you're welcome. This I want to bring a little bit more attention to. So that's where either mixed media comes in or more brush strokes come in. And, you know, you have the option of really playing more with your paints or playing with some mixed media, which is what I'm going to do. All right. So I've got about 15 more minutes. Tell me what kind of brushes you have, SM, because I'm curious. What do you like that you have and what do you not like that you have? I have opinions on watercolor brushes, that's for sure. So I'm just curious. I'm debating if I'm going to keep this one out. I'm going to come in here and make some vein shapes. And I don't like to do too many veins because I feel like that's where it gets too detailed and it gets too messy. And I don't love that. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make a vein through this one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it and then I'm going to just kind of bring that down a little bit to create more interest and then kind of wash it out. So I'm going to kind of go around the edge on that and then let it kind of blend a little bit. So you can see there's the impression of a vein, but it's not super streaky, stripy. Heidi, hello, my friend. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do it with this one. And I did not thin it out, but you can see it's not the same size going around. I'm going to add water over the top. And it's still kind of there, but now it's kind of softened it up a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to do it down. Let's see. Let's do it over here. And you can change where your leaf vein is going to go. So if I could put it over this way, like it's going off the page a little bit or off the side of the leaf. Like maybe it's curling a little bit like that. And then that's not bright enough. I'm going to darken that up a little bit and let that bleed down. And then underneath it, I'm just going to add water and let that blend and soften up even more. And then let's see what else. Let's go through. I'm going to add another vein in here. This one I'm going to try and make a little bit thinner. And I'm not going to connect all of it together like that. And then again, I'm going to go underneath to soften it up. Heidi, what's up? What's shaking, my friend? I'm going to add a little bit there, almost like a dot to dot. Oh, thanks, Nicole. Go in here like that. I'm going to add a little bit more though. And then this one kind of comes down like that, like a butt cheek. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It does look like a butt cheek now. Oh well. And this one I want to be a little bit darker. Oh, I'm so glad. Tell me, is it just the leaves, or is it how the water moves? Like, what about it do you find your most bang for your buck in this? Or is it how the water moves? Like, what about it do you find your most bang for your buck in this? I learned a lot from Skillshare classes, and they were endless if you paid for the subscription fee. But not everybody can afford that. Sometimes it's nice to just buy one class. Oh, I'm glad. Okay, cool. Good to know. You can afford that. Sometimes it's nice to just buy one class. Oh, I'm glad. Okay, cool. Good to know. Sorry, someone keeps calling me. So if I pause out, I'm trying to like ignore their call so I can call them back later. All right, let's step away from this and let it dry. I'm gonna actually come back to this one, and I'm gonna use my heat gun to dry this off. Oh, these colors are so good together. Princeton is great. I have some Princeton brushes. I don't feel like they have the snap that I want, or you know what it is? I like Princeton brushes. Let me backtrack a little bit. I like Princeton brushes a lot. What Princeton brushes did not have for me in my journey was a good dagger. And I love a dagger with snap. So I'll show you what that is in just a second. So dagger brushes are like filbert brushes. So here's like, this is a long dagger. A dagger with snap is when I pull this down, it pops right back up. Okay. A dagger brush that does not have snap. Now this is from the same company. So just to be clear, I'm not like beefing up one company over another. This is within the same company. So they're both King Art brushes. Okay. They're both daggers. This is the dagger I like because snap. This is not one that I like. Like if I pull this down, it kind of comes back, but it's really floppy and loose. This one is not floppy and loose at all. I do have a Craftimo. I think I have the Emma, what's her last name? It's the, I just pulled it out the other day. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. I have, is it LaFay? LaFaux? I have one of her sets, and I do like it. I do think it's a solid set. But I really like this brush a lot, and I love daggers. So my favorite daggers are the Christy Rice daggers. But it looks like her watercolor brushes are not available right now. I think this is the only one that I could find for sale. Yes, that's the one, Janster. That's the one. I do like her brushes, but they're not my favorite. Liesels. Interesting. I don't know if I've heard of Liesels. But yeah, these are the ones that made me love dagger brushes. They're my fave. I feel like they're super versatile. They've got this lovely curve on the side and then the sharpness on the other side and the point, and I use it all the time. Honestly, I feel like dagger brushes are what helps me find my style. And obviously that's a personal thing. That's not something that's for everybody. But for me, it definitely did that for me. Okay, so let's decide. You guys help me. I'm going to do kind of like the soft veins that I did for this one. What color should I use? Should I use that blue, that indigo blue? I feel like I should use that indigo blue. Oh, thanks, Jay. How are you? I think I'm going to use that indigo blue. I want to green it up a little bit, though. And again, over here, I'm mixing on my page. There's that blue. It's almost a purple. Add some green to it, though. I don't want that green either. Oh my gosh. I just keep mixing and mixing. Let's add some water to lessen up the pigment a little bit. There we go. And then if it's not enough, we'll come back and add more. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty light. I'm going to add some more here. Hold on. And then I'm going to do what I did before. Just going to add some wet underneath. So it looks like it's part of the leaf. We're going to do it here too. And I think I made this a little thicker on the other one, so let me do that. And it needs to be a little bit darker. And then I'll come back to you in a minute, my darling. What else do I need here? I'm good. I'm excited. I'm taking, I have a kitty cat that I'm taking to the vet today that's about 5 weeks old. And if all is well, which she seems very happy, we're going to keep her. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that she is golden. Otherwise, I'm going to have a very sad set of children. Okay. Yeah. What do they call that? The kitty lottery or whatever, where you find one, they find you, and then suddenly you have a new family member. That's kind of what happened. Okay. Here. Add a bit more there. So I will probably be back again tomorrow. Would you want more leaves or would you like some flowers if you're going to stop by? Because I haven't decided yet. Should I keep doing this like watercolor play, just maybe with flowers? Or what would you like? Yes, Jay, the cat distribution system. That's exactly what I was going to say. No, I mean, it's what I wanted to say. But yeah, the cat distribution system has happened again. And I have 2 rescue cats already. I have one that we got at a local cat cafe that was like 7 or 8 months when we got her. So she had some trauma, but she is the queen of this house. Everybody knows it. My husband loves her and he doesn't love cats. The second one was one that we got at a local pet store that, you know, like shelter, like they have shelter cats there at the pet store. And so we got her there as a baby. She was probably 8, 9 weeks old. And this one, we found her in the bushes in front of our house with a little buddy, but we were never able to rescue the little boy. We couldn't find him. You have 5? We'll have 5 if we keep her because we have 2 dogs and 2 cats now. So, all right, I'm going to add some water here to spread that out a little bit more and soften up that line. Okay. This one is so funny. It looks just like a butt. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's just so silly to me. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to that other one more time. And I'm going to do something that's going to seem less soft and more painterly to kind of lean into the mixed media that's coming next. Okay. Oh, I don't know, there's something about those Russian blues. They're just so beautiful. This one, so we have a black cat, we have a tiger tabby, and we have this new one is a female. She's an orange and white female, so she's got like orange tiger stripes, but white patches. So I'm feeling pretty happy. She's so darling. Like my son connived and got my husband in the area that we're kind of keeping her right now. And she was all over my husband, super cuddly and adorable. And he was like, this is some crap. Because he knew that he liked her, but he didn't want to admit it. And my son was like, Dad, do you want to come and hang out with me? My husband's such a sucker for when my kids want to hang out with him. And he's like, and my son just looked at me with a smirk like, see what I'm doing here, Mom? See? And my husband just looked at me like, this is your son. I'm like, maybe. Possibly. Okay. Just adding in some actual brush strokes here to create some like more contrast within the piece. And then just blending it out. Yeah, this feels pretty good. They never do, I know. Designer Imposter Kitty. So here's the kicker. Literally, I just put a down payment on a Maine Coon because I've always wanted one, like a real one for next summer. Really, really have always wanted one. I'm like, I have rescue cats. I'm not going to feel bad about not having another rescue cat. I told my husband I'm getting another cat. I know you don't want one, but I'm getting one, but that's okay because we're not going to get it for another year. And then this kitten comes along and is like, nope, I don't think you're doing that. So here we are. Okay, let me get some mixed media tools here. And we're going to play on top of this. Let me dry it while I'm doing that. I'm going to use crayons, I think. I've got silky crayons and I have watercolor. They're both watercolor. One of them is softer than the other, like a pastel. And the other one creates this really cool effect that's a bit more textured. And then we'll use a Stabilo when I'm done. Yeah. So they never do. I know. I keep thinking that too. And though my brother loves cats. He would rather have cats than dogs. So there are some of them. Just my brother's not a husband though, so maybe that excludes him. Okay, so we're going to use these. Have you guys seen these? I got these for my kids. These twistable bear crayons. There's 24 colors in this one. There's one with 36 and then there's another one with 12. They are just like pastels, like oil pastels. They have that oil pastel feel, except they're water soluble. So you can actually go in here and like manipulate and play. But I want to use these first. These are water soluble. They label them pastels, but they're more like crayons and they give off more of a dry texture. So I've used these before, but I'm going to use these now and show you how they work on mine and how I would use them. I'm going to start actually with, I usually pick a color off the palette from here. I think I'm going to go with yellow, actually. And I'm just going to like color in certain spots to brighten it up. And it just adds a little bit of a pop of color and texture that I really like. So you see that texture there that now exists because of the crayon? Do it over here too. And I don't color over everything, I just do some of it. And then I'll go back in with another color. This is also in my shop if you're interested. And then I'll go over it with these second, and then I'll do the Stabilo pencil third. Okay, let's pick a different color. I think I put that red in there for this one, so let's add a bit of pink on top. Like a real creamy, peachy pink. Let me see this out. There we go. Isn't that cool? How many of you here are on YouTube? Like, would you be interested in me downloading this and uploading it on YouTube? I just don't know if that's a vibe. Like, do people like that to rewatch? Because I can't do it here, obviously. TikTok won't let anything past, what is it, 10 minutes or 12 minutes? I'm not even sure. Let's add some dark green, I think. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I will try and do that today. Because honestly, I like YouTube. I like it for my own purposes too. Like I've learned so much about crocheting on YouTube. Yes, I have another hobby that I create things for. But anytime I try and create for YouTube slowly, it's such a time suck editing the videos down and all that stuff. But if I think that you guys will take this raw footage and I can just throw it on YouTube and you'll enjoy that or like that, I will put it there for you. But I don't want to do it if I don't think people are going to dig it. Okay. Look how cool that looks with the crayon on it. Okay. Let me put some more of this soft crayon on it. I'm going to pick a brighter, I want to pick a brighter color. Let's do the peachy again, but let's just see the difference. So this is the dry eye crayon watercolor water soluble pastel from iCrayon. This is the silky crayon. So just to show you the difference, this is definitely a little bit brighter than this, and it's also blendable. I can't blend this one. This one's just dry. This one is soft. So I can just go in and rub it a little bit and it kind of blends in. Like you'll see it right here. And then I'll just go in and just blend it a little bit. Like how pretty is that? Like over here, I can add little spots and I can blend it in if I want, or just leave it and let it create its own impact. Over here. Isn't that cool? I read somewhere that all artists are a bit neurodivergent, and I've never been diagnosed, but it's this stuff that makes me feel like maybe I am a little bit. Just the love of watching the textures and being super hyper texture focused, even in my eating. Like if it has a weird texture, I'm not eating it. No, thank you. That's why I'm super sensitive when it comes to like meats. Like I hate any sort of grizzle, grit. Blech. I love bacon when it's crispy and like charred, but I don't like it any other time. I don't like it in food because it's not crispy. So is it AUDHD, like autistic/ADHD? The blendable ones are twistable bear crayons. Here, let me see if I can pin those too. Because these, I love these. And they're not oil based, which, how awesome is that? I mean, really, like the fact, like the issue is with oils is always going to be, do you need to put a fixative over it? Well, yeah, if you don't want it to rub off on something else, because it will rub off on something else. Okay, let me go in with this. What time is it? All right, I've still got time. I'm going to go in with this gray color. Let's try this. Am I liking it? Not really. This is not the color that I want. I mean, it's fine. It's not bad. I do like that on the side. Look at that. That's kind of a vibe. I do like that. Okay, maybe an outside little doodly. Yeah, I do like that. I do like it that way. Kind of like an outside contrast with the white. That's cool. Okay, and then this, not blendable. Like if I rub my finger over it, not blending. It just stays right there. And these are iCrayon water soluble. So if I add water to this, it will blend out, but you will still see some of that grain in the paper. And then let's go with these. I'm definitely going to use this color because that's a perfect color. And then of course it like twists and gets taller the more you use it. Okay. Oh yeah. Look at that. Beautiful. Thank you, Hamboni. Okay, so just like that. Just adding it in various spots around the page. And look at how much more pop that has now. Let's make sure to distribute equally though. And then I'm going to add this purple in here. My son grabbed it the other day, like he was going to play with it. I'm like, dude, I'm using that. And he's like, I thought this was for us. And I'm like, well, it is, but I'm using it. Oh, the mom artist life. Yeah, let's add it right in there. Now, the goal here is to not cover up all the watercolor, okay? So you put all these beautiful layers of watercolor down. You're not taking that away by going over. Like, we're not coloring over the whole thing. We're putting in little bits and patchwork to just make it look even more interesting than it already does, okay? Let's go in here one more time with like a bright green. It's so fun. Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, you could totally see these colors in some sort of like beachy oil painting. Just little bits here. Honestly, so I don't paint with this palette very much. I generally tend to lean into warm tones, not reds, but like oranges, yellows, peaches, not even oranges, yellows, pinks, greens. Like, that's usually the palette that I lean into for the most part. But these are actually my favorite colors. Green is my ultimate favorite color and has been for as long as I can remember. And blue, like a navy blue, always came in a close second. Okay, maybe there. Look how fun that is. Okay, twistables are done for this one, and they're done for this one. So here's the last thing I'm going to do with you guys. I'm going to add on some line work with my Stabilo pencil. It needs to be sharpened though. Okay, because now, just so you know, Stabilo is basically the same medium that I've already put on this page. It's water soluble, which means that those dry crayons that I started with, those eye crayons, it's basically the same similar type of material, except I can sharpen it so that it's very like teeny tiny tip. But I have to sharpen it a lot. Like a lot, because it's a soft medium, so it goes down real quickly. But I like using it to outline bits and pieces to bring a pop to things that maybe I think lost it when I was initially working with it. It also lets me play with some line work ideas. So like in here, where I created that kind of soft blend, yes, I love it way more. It's also a match to the medium I've used. Like the scribbly colors that I already put on top, it's the same type of like tool. So it looks like it's a part of the piece, like it should be there, you know? And I don't do it everywhere. I do it in some spots, just enough to create like the impression. Yeah, doesn't that look so pretty? I know you love that color too, because didn't you use that, Heidi, on the background that you did yesterday for the Bird of Paradise painting that we did? I am not sure about this leaf. This leaf is so funny. I feel like it needs a stem because it just keeps looking like a weird, I don't know what. So do you see the pop that this is creating? I always add it to the tips of leaves to kind of bring them out and to give them some more movement. Like I might give that a curly just because. Why not? I also almost always put it where the stem and leaf connect. Like here. Sometimes you can also use it to create extra shapes. So like maybe here I'm going to make this a bit longer of a leaf. And if I do it there though, I should probably do it here. So it creates this white negative space in the drawing that is missing in the painting. What are you getting, Kaylin? What are you getting? I can't remember. Bye, Crystal. Good luck at work. Okay. I'm going to give this a stem because this is driving me crazy. We're going to imagine that this stem is just kind of popping off the bottom. There we go. All right. Put that down in there. And look how cool that looks. Oh, let's give this a little vein here. And then what I could do here, this would be fun, but you see how this is already worn down? This pencil, the Stabilo pencil. I try and put this in my shop. Every time I do, it sells out. Now, not that I'm selling it out, but it sells out from the companies that you can purchase it from. So I don't think it's in there. You can look, but I doubt it. But this is just, and they come in different colors. I use the black more than anything else. It's a Stabilo All. It's a Stabilo All. Make sure that all is in there. It does make a difference. Not all Stabilo, excuse me, is the same. Because some of them are just like watercolor pencils. This is more than that. I want to make some, I did not really do much with this one, did I? This wiggly guy. There we go. What else was I going to do? I was going to do some veins. I'm going to try doing some veins on this guy. And then it just creates that vein effect without feeling committed to doing all the veins, right? I could do that with this one too. Maybe even in here. And just building up just the doodly bits, which is fun. And you don't have to put veins in any of it if you don't want. You do you, my booze. I'm going to take a chance on this one. I'm going to go all the way around and see how that looks. Okay, cool. That looks better than I worried it would look. How fun. How so fun. Okay, last one, and then we'll finish up here. And then again, I will, at some point today, try and put this live up on my YouTube. Just make sure to follow. Otherwise, you're not going to know what's up. I'll try and do it by tonight at the latest. Yep, Stabilo All 8046. And I am, during the regular school year, usually not available at this time, but today, tomorrow, I will try and be available tomorrow at this time as well. And then I believe next week, I will be, well, I'm not even going to speak about next week yet, because I feel like I want to put the cart before the horse. I do have live plans with my friend Chelsea and Bindi next week. But off the top of my head, I can't remember when we're going live. I think we're doing Protea, which I have never painted before. And I'm very intimidated, but I'm sure it's going to be fun because those ladies are always fun. We do. Is the white one good at all? I don't like the white one, CJ. The white Stabilo doesn't do much for me, honestly. I would say pass. I like the blue. I like the green. I like the brown. I'm always going to be using black, though, because every time, even though I use the black and the brown sometimes, I always end up coming back to adding this at the end anyways, because it's just the strongest of all the pigments. And I like the contrast. I think I did. Let's see. Oh, well, maybe, CJ. I don't know. I haven't painted on black paper in ages. I have some, but it's always such a fight. Though maybe with mixed media, it might be better. Okay. No idea what I'm doing with this one leaf. Let's see. This one. See what fun you can have with these? It's just good doodle practice too. It's good for your muscle memory. It doesn't need to be something precious that you need to like save and frame. And while there's value in that for sure, I would argue this is way more important. Maybe sharpen this again. Okay. Let's create another curly over here because I love the curlies. I think over here I did this. I think that one. You can also create little shadows and you can cross hatch with this. And because this is water soluble, just know that you should probably be done with any sort of watercolor over the top, unless it is your intent to blend this in, because this is very, 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 very strong. If I put this on a scrap of paper right now and added water to it, you would immediately see how strong it is. I don't know if I have any scraps on the side. Let me see. I'm sure I do. Yeah. Here, let me use this one. I'll show you. So if I go in like that, just that little teeny tiny scribble. Look at how dark that is. So just be mindful if you're using it over the top of something that you're done. Like you don't intend to put any more water media on this unless you're genuinely using it as a shading mechanism, okay? Like it's strong. It's very strong. Okay. Almost done? Almost done, Christine? I think you are. I think you have to be. Let's see. And like you can doodle around. Have you ever seen those videos where someone puts like a blob on the page and they doodle around it? That's kind of what this feels like right now, right? It's a great black. It's great. I mean, look, you can even see like it's drying and you can see it's kind of got like that pigmented, but this is genuinely watercolor. Never ending doodling, never ending all the time. And I just love the texture, Kaylin. I absolutely love the texture. So there's a number of ways to do it. You can get a spray. There are sprays for that. I genuinely don't do it that often. Not that I shouldn't, but I just don't. Because if it's something I treasure, I usually frame it and then it's not an issue. But that being said, there's a product called Wax Medium that a lot of artists use. I can show you what it looks like. This is Dorland's Wax Medium. Basically what you do is you pull out like a glop and you spread it over the illustration with watercolor and water media. And you can do it in a number of ways. You can either do a really thin layer with a palette knife and then let it dry overnight. And then what you can do is you can go back in over with like, let's say some paper towels. And usually I would say 18 to 24 hours is the best method there. And then when you come in with the paper and towel, it kind of sands it down and softens it up. It does change the look a little bit, but the actual illustration doesn't disappear. So like, here, I'll just do it with this one because this is not precious. Let me just make sure it's dry. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. And then this has really got to be the last thing. Okay, so Dorland's Wax Medium, I just go in with a little bit of this. I feel like I need another thing to do it with, but I'll do it with this for right now. I'm just going to lay that down on the top. I'm going to go ahead and like just thinly spread this down like that. You can see the watercolor is not moving. None of the water pigments are really moving. And then this would be left alone for a solid 18 to 24 hours. I'm sure you could go earlier than that. Like that. Okay. Now you can see that moved a little, and that's because it's such a strong pigment. And that's just the way that goes. This is obviously like user error. So I just have to be careful because I did just drop that down. So was it super dry? No. Was it dry enough? Yes. Just, it's going to change the impact a little bit. But you can't go over it too many more than one time, because then you're going to start really rubbing at that medium on your page, and then it could impact the outcome. So here's what I'll do. I'll let this dry for the day, and then we'll come back tomorrow at 10. I'll be here at 10. And we'll rub it off and see how it looks. Because this isn't precious to me. Like, if it looks like trash, then it looks like trash. But we'll check it out tomorrow. So if you're here tomorrow, right around this time, obviously this got a little messed up because that was a little bit too fresh. Like that. I'm going to let that dry. The only thing is, I would say this I'm double speaking. I would say this works better without the Stabilo because the Stabilo is so pigmented. Okay. I've never used gloves actually with this. I just use a paper towel and do a quick rub over, and it seems to be okay. And then I'm going to let that dry. And because it's wax, it's not, I'll show you how I drip on it, and it really doesn't do anything. Okay. Okay. I would say that this probably works better over hot press, just to be fully transparent, because with all of the grains and stuff in the paper, it kind of sits in there a little bit differently, but it still does the trick. All right. So I think I'm finished for today. And then as far as tomorrow, I'll be back at 10. I'm not going to do it to this one. I'm just going to leave this one so we can compare tomorrow to see the difference. It's got Damar resin and mineral spirits in it, which is why I say use gloves. Interesting. But I don't usually get any on my fingers for the most part. All right. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to set this aside. Not that this needs to dry or anything. And then we'll check it out tomorrow. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'm going to go handle the situation in which I was gifted the cat distribution system. Keep your fingers crossed that that little kitty is well and doesn't have anything that would potentially harm or infect my other pets. I would love to bring her home and keep her, but you know, it is what it is, right? So, but thanks for hanging out. I love doing this with you guys. I will upload this to my YouTube hopefully tonight. If you're not following there yet, please go ahead and do that. And I'll see you guys soon, hopefully tomorrow. Bye, guys.